Hello everybody and welcome to Andrew Rants, the video series where I stand upon my metaphorical soapbox pedestal of the world and I just bitch, rant, scream, complain, holler, yell, and bitch at the top of my lungs about things that annoy me, bother me, piss me off, and drive me off the deep end of sanity. Yep, I'm looking at it in the rearview mirror right now as I speak. It's kind of fun. Well, metaphorically speaking, of course. I'm actually recording this sitting down in a room. I'm not driving. I'm not idiotic. Possibly crazy, maybe insane, but I'm not idiotic. Okay. So what's my topic this time? Continuations. Alright. I don't mean continuations of my topics. God, no, I don't want to relive most of these. I'd like to have them buried and go to their funeral just to make sure that they're dead and gone. Now, I'm talking about continuations to movies that have come out over a long period of time. Now, there is a reason for it, and there are times when it's justified. The Incredibles 2, I am going to justify because, one, I did remember reading an article after the first one came out that they tried doing a sequel, they tried getting everything in the works for it back then, but they were unable to get everybody together. 2, the first movie was extremely successful. I mean, it was good. Much better than the slop that Pixar was pushing out to the barn afterwards, and honestly, it was on par with Toy Story. I'm gonna say it. The first one, maybe the second one, but definitely on par with a Toy Story movie. The sequel, which I haven't seen yet, honestly feels like it belongs. It's just where it is. Now, yes, it was 14 years in the making, but hey, sometimes good things take the longest time to make. Then there are sequels and continuations and more sequels that suck, blow, and should have just stayed on the cutting room floor. I have a few of them personally that I didn't like, trilogy-wise. Now, I know somebody in the comments is going to say, well, the entire prequel to the Star Wars franchise, Episode 1, Episode 2, and Episode 3 sucked. Yes, while I will agree that Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, sucked donkey balls, I'm not going to deny that. I kind of did like Clone Wars, and Revenge of the Sith is honestly my favorite. Mostly for the fact that Anakin and Obi-Wan duke it out with lightsabers, and you actually get to see Yoda kicking some ass for more than a minute. Unlike in Attack of the Clones, where it was about a minute. I timed it, by the way. It was about a minute that he actually whooped ass in that movie. Otherwise, the prequels weren't that great, but they served a point. Yes, they also left us with the question of the goddamn Force Ghost, but then again, I'm not really digging too deeply into Star Wars mythology. If I would want to do that, I would be here for at least half a day. Not joking. But anyway, what exactly is my issue with some trilogies? Well, I have a few. Back to the Future. Now, the first and the second one were wonderful, wonderful movies. Especially the first one. The second one was really good. I do appreciate them both. At least the first half of the second one, I should say. The second half, kind of questionable. The third one, however, I consider that a complete kiss-off. Besides the fact that they just made it, I think, to tie up loose ends and everything else, it honestly just felt like a needless cash grab to me. Mostly because, hey, we still got the franchise, hey, it's still going, hey, the people still like it, let's just go to town on this one. I didn't like it. I'm going to come right out and say it, I didn't like it. Especially the fact that they just MacGuffin the ending. Here's Doc Brown with his time train. Where did he get the flux capacitor? Where did he get the electric components? Where the hell did he build this? How the hell did he get it? So many questions I have that are unanswered, it's not even funny. Then, as far as that one, that's about as far as I'm willing to go with that. But then there's other movies, like The Karate Kid. No, I'm not talking about the 2010 version with Will Smith's kid. No, I'm talking the original ones. Because way back in the 80s, they decided to make a great movie called The Karate Kid, starring Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. Truly classic 80s movie. Highly recommend you check it out. The sequel, though, is my personal favorite, The Karate Kid Part 2. When they go over to Okinawa, and Daniel pretty much has a chance to get it on with Kimiko, and somehow keeps getting crotch blocked. I mean, come on, Miyagi's basically pimping him out, and it's a good movie otherwise. But seriously, that movie just spoke echoes of volumes to me. Then they go and ruin it with a third movie. Because the first one, Daniel fought for honor. The second one, he fought for his life. The third one, he's fighting because he has to? Yeah, I'm not going to ruin the movie for you, but here's the whole gist of it. He basically gets roped into fighting in the All Valley tournament, and because he's the reigning champion, he only has to fight one time, and he ends up going on this little training thing, almost going to the dark side, coming back to the light side. Miyagi teaches him. It all ends happily. I could give a rat's ass. Then they go and make a fourth one, The Next Karate Kid, with Hilary Swank and Pat Morita. No way in hell. But then you have some movies, because those are ones that some of the trilogy should have stopped at 2. It should have stopped at the sequel. Then you have some movies where it honestly paid to make at least a sequel because the sequel was better than the original. And then they just ruined that by making a third one. In this case, it would be The Mummy. Because remember The Mummy with Brendan Fraser? Yeah, of course, nobody does. Sorry, nobody does. Anybody remember Brendan Fraser? Of course, nobody does. Anyway, the first Mummy movie sucked. I'm not going to deny that. I've seen it. It's not the world's greatest. It blew. The sequel, The Mummy Returns. You didn't even need to see the original prior to going to see that to get the gist of it, because they explained it to you. Within the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, it's explained. Especially after the whole stuff about the movie that you're currently doing, it's explained. Beautifully, I might add. Then you have a third one, set years later. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. I'm thinking no. And I don't mean no. I mean no. I've seen it. I'm not a fan of it. I think it sucks. Why did you make it? Nobody knows. I would say the Fantastic Four, but then again, both the original ones with Michael Chiklis and all, and Jessica Alba, they did kind of blow. The original and Rise of the Silver Surfer. Then the remake that they tried really blew. You have the whole bunch of Spider-Man movies. In all honesty, I didn't mind Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I kind of liked the third one. I know a lot of people hated it. I didn't mind Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. I thought he did a pretty good job. So, yeah, there's that. I know there are a lot of people that give the Iron Man movies a lot of slack. Personally, I have done a video on this. I would like a fourth one. I'm assuming that's probably not possible, though. I have not seen Infinity War. Do not spoil it for me. It's actually on my list of DVDs to get. Believe me, I have a list of ones that I want to get, and it is right there above the second Pacific Rim movie just to finish that out. So, yeah, a lot of people hate the third Iron Man movie. I actually kind of like that one, at least for the part and the standpoint that I like seeing the Iron Man suits. They're my favorite part. That's why I like it. But there's just like a tremendous amount of movies that don't need a sequel or a freaking trilogy, and they're getting a trilogy. I can understand a sequel if the movie at least makes 5 times or more whatever the budget was. That's sequel worthy. It is not trilogy worthy. Just because the sequel does slightly well does not mean, hey, we should make a trilogy. No! Stop at the sequel! Karate Kid Part 2 was the best one of the 3. Don't even get me started on that god-awful abomination of a remake that they came out with years later. That should have just been called the Kung Fu Kid because he learned Kung Fu, not karate. Seriously, somebody in the writer's room of that really should have rechecked the title before they okayed it. It should have been called the Kung Fu Kid. He learned Kung Fu. You got the Kung Fu... Speaking of Kung Fu, you got the Kung Fu Panda movies. Kung Fu Panda 2, and Kung Fu Panda 3. Although, they actually follow a linear story, and actually are pretty good the further on you go, because Po learns something new each time, proving that he can learn more stuff and he's not the master of everything. which is a good thing. Then you have other movies like Shrek that went for, how many movies did they make for that? 4? 5? Did they make a 6th one? I gave the hell up anymore. I know there was Shrek 1. I saw that one. Loved it. The sequel wasn't bad. I know they made a 3rd one. I think that was the one where they had to go to get Arthur. There was a 4th one, Shrek Forever After. Was that I'm hoping that was the final one. Did they make a 5th one? You know, who the hell cares? And then there are some movies that Disney made like years ago that they decided, hey, we're going to make a direct-to-DVD sequel. Like Aladdin. They made Aladdin 2, Jafar's Revenge. The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea. Just so many movies that they didn't need to make a sequel to that they did. And then there are so many movies that deserved the sequel but did not need the damn trilogy. You don't need a trilogy on a freaking movie series to make it good. It's a movie. It either is going to do good or bad. If you want a perfect example of this, check out the Power Rangers movie that came out back in 2017. There are still people banging their heads on the ground demanding a sequel. There's no way in hell they're going to make one. That movie did not go gangbusters like they hoped it would. I called that crap. I knew it wasn't going to do that good. Fans wanted something that was more to the original thing, but they decided to skew it off in a whole new tangent. Not only did they skew it into a whole new tangent, but basically flip people off along the way. I don't understand what they were thinking, nor do I really want to try. Honestly, it hurts my mind to even consider the possibilities that they had at some point an idea. Seriously, it scares me that they had an idea in their heads for this thing at some point. Anyway, though, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that movies deserve a sequel or a trilogy? Or do you think that just maybe they should have stuck at maybe 1, maybe 2 if it deserved it? Let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, I'm Andrew Rhodes, and this has been another episode of Andrew Rants.